Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the 2021 Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. We are going to be featuring a preliminary match between ernest and Appietreee, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. My screen name is Covert Muffin, and joining me on comms is going to be none other than Turtle. Turtle, how are you doing?
I'm excited to see this race, Muffin. It's going to be a close one because Ernest and Apple are both very good runners who are very close to each other in skill.
Yeah, we've been seeing like the preliminary matches go on like throughout the past 2 weeks, and Ernest and Apple have been pretty much benchmarked pretty close to each other consistently throughout the entire preliminaries. So the way the prelims work, once again, is that they're just free for all matches. Anybody can join in. Looks like we're going to have 21 racers today. And but for your viewing pleasure, it's kind of hard to cast 21 people simultaneously. We're going to be just featuring these two epic runners for your viewing enjoyment. And here we go. We have some really nice strats coming over here. Apple just is a rando player. This is so cool to see. Has not actually submitted anything to the leaderboard. Uses controller and doesn't really speedrun too much outside of the randomizer, which is awesome to see. For the state of the race itself, she's hoping for a C jump start because we got a lot of those last week, which is charge jump. It is a very powerful skill. Has a little bit of nerves, but is looking to put on a good performance. But that being said, Turtle, tell me a bit about Ernest.
Yeah, Ernest, unlike Apple, is a keyboard and mouse player. So that means if we get a Bash Nade seed, Ernest might have a slight advantage, but otherwise, controller and keyboard are pretty similar. Ernest, one of the things that they're looking for in this seed is dash. We haven't seen that a lot early on in many of the runs, so it'll be great to find something like that for Ernest to just get his speed on and zoom through the seed. He's looking in this race to try and get over halfway through the rest of the runners to increase his ranking to potentially over 2.5 in the prelims for a good seed.
All right. And so we'll see how they end up doing here today. And we will be getting started in a bit as our runners ready up. And so for this upcoming race, Turtle, what are you hoping to see yourself for an opener?
Ooh, well, I always like double jump. We did just see a little bit of a double jump seed last or earlier today, but I still think they could come around all the more often. But we typically have this tournament seen a lot of climb starts and a lot of charge jump starts. So if either of those come around, that is one of the two of the three skills that are needed for an incredibly fast piece of movement tech that we call grenade jumps. So if we see those, I will also be very happy.
Oh yeah, and it is as explosive as you might imagine. Like literally, the glitch has grenade in the name, right? If you can imagine just shooting yourself out of a grenade launcher, that's pretty much what it is, just all over the place. And hopefully, we get to see those. Those are very fun. But I'm sure our runners are hoping maybe for a few other things like bash or dash, which are really incredibly powerful skills. And it really can be anything, right? And this is a really nice thing, right? This is our third singles tournament. We've actually done a good number of these things throughout the years, and the logic itself has really evolved quite a bit as well. And so there could be really mean things, right? Like a teleporter start, right? Early
Hmm.
bash and stomp, which we've actually seen a lot in the past few days, demanding that they go to the left side of the map. Yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff that can happen.
Yeah, it all just depends on what the randomizer wants to give us. It could give us a jet seed, or it could just decide that we have to watch a lot more Ori.
Yeah, I'm like hoping for like really mean placements of dungeon keys, right? So one of the main constraints of the randomizer, we have two actually. The first one is that we have to go and visit every single skill location on the map. So it's kind of like that vanilla objective, right? Because when you're going through, you have to visit most areas in order to be able to get to the final escape, right? You get all the skills in the vanilla playthrough. In this, we may not actually necessarily find those skills at the skill locations themselves, or as we call them, trees in the community. But we could just end up having to use a really starved skill set to be able to close that out. But then the other constraint, Turtle, is finding sunstone and water vein. So, why are those significant for the randomizer itself?
So, Sunstone, Water Vein, and another item called the Gumon Seal each lock an entire area behind them. Water Vein locks the Ginso Tree, Gumon Seal locks Forlorn Ruins, and Sunstone unlocks Mount Horu. To complete the seed, we first need to get the tree in, or the Bash Tree in the Ginso Tree. So we need the Water Vein for that, as well as we need the Sunstone to get through Mount Horu to the final escape. So we will be seeing both of those pickups wherever this they are in this seed.
All right, and here we go. We are going to be seeing both of our runners going to be starting immediately. Ernest is going to be featured over on the left, and Apple is going to be featured over on the right with their respective trackers down below. And the trackers themselves at the bottom of the screens are going to show when our runners find necessary skills, as well as the trees that are sort of the satellite on the outside of that wheel, showing as they go and activate those skill locations. But here we go. We are going to get our first pickup, and it is a keystone. So, a bit of progression. You can either find a teleporter, you can find a skill, which allows you to like jump off walls or get like some height, or you can actually end up finding a resource like this keystone, which will, once we find two of those, that'll unlock glades, which is kind of the starting area of the game. And yep, sure enough, there's the second keystone. This is definitely the most common start and adds in four more pickups into logic.
Yeah. Finding the second keystone also means that there are more skills that can open up new things. Like charge jump can get a couple pickups that normally walking just can't. You can get over to the charge flame tree if you have blue breakage early, but that only happens with the two keystone start, or if you find two keystones later on.
Right, for sure. Okay, and we're going to see our runners right now. The screens are a little bit doubled. Don't worry, folks. We'll be getting those runners back on screen in a moment. But coming to these third and fourth pickups, there's not really too much to say about the state of the race itself. As we see, grenade being the first
Ooh,
skill that is picked up. Oh man, come on, let this be
one out of
bash.
three.
Yep. So yeah, that is definitely one out of the three of the holy triforce of grenade jumps. But oh nope, sure enough, grenade does open up one additional pickup into logic until we find something like either clean water or some other skill to augment grenade, like bash, or some way to like literally touch walls and not slide down them. Okay, so coming over here, we're going to see the check, which is going to be right underneath here at Sea Flame Tree, and it is Sorrow Teleporter. That is a very nice
Ooh.
find, Turtle.
Yeah, it's a nice find for later though, because the area that Sorrow Teleporter takes you to, Sorrow Pass, is filled to the brim with spikes, and all of those spikes do 4 damage, which you can see right now the players only have 3 health. So while that will be very nice to have later on, right now it's more of something that you have to keep in the back of your mind and never truly forget about, but you have to focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, and so it's going to be really important as our runners go through. Like they either need that charge jump or they need that stomp to be able to make use of that teleporter. But if they do, it does save like a ton of time. Like we're talking a minute, if not more, depending on the skill sets that our runners have. So very nice early pickup. And like also it has to be said that like finding the teleporter in a nice location is like actually good. And oh, there it is. There's charge jump. Two of three. We have two of three.
Exactly. Charge jump is also a very powerful skill to have. It gives a huge amount of verticality when you jump with it, and it also does a lot of damage. We may have to fight a couple of mini bosses throughout the seed, and charge jump just makes them disappear.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna see Appietreee check this pickup, who's just a few inches ahead of her opponent, and Ernest is going to be right behind her, coming to this tree. So we'll see what is on this first skill location, but it really could be a lot of different things, right? But here we do find a map stone. So why are map stones really useful, Turtle?
Yeah, so there are 9 map pedestals scattered on the map, and all of those are pickups. Now, something about them is that they're progressive. So if you place a map stone in say the stone right nearby in glades, it will give you the same thing as if you didn't place it there and placed it somewhere else instead. So, like, the first mapstone will always be the same. We could
Right.
see
Yeah.
something important on a later mapstone, which would be very, very difficult for these runners in order to
Yeah.
get all of the different mapstones in the pedestals.
Yeah, those late game mapstone pedestals are can be in really really mean locations. But wow, we do see both of our runners backtracking from the tree itself to actually do a check in an area called Spirit Caverns. This is a really nice play because Blackroot Burrows does not actually have very high density associated with it. And ooh, I really like this difference between our two runners. Appietreee actually opened up the door ahead of time. This is going to save her a number of seconds over her opponent to be able to get in here. But Spirit Caverns in general has 5 pickups, and with Charge Jump, we can very, very quickly get through to be able to check each of these before heading back out to Blackroot Burrows. And it's not required for us to go through that 4-key door, just simply because we have Grenade and Charge Jump. So we can actually get out of the Sea Flame Tree area to be able to get into Grove proper. So really heads up play from both of our runners to realize that they may just not necessarily want to go through that 4-key door and use those resources later. As we see, ooh, a little bit
Ooh,
of an unfortunate death where Appietreee is going to have lost those resources and have to do Spirit Caverns again if she would like to keep those.
yeah, and based on the way that Appletree was moving back towards the left, it seems like both of our runners are going to be going straight for the charge flame tree and leaving Blackroot to the very end as long as they can.
Yeah, okay, and here we go. ernEst is going to be coming over to the Charge Flame Tree area first. There's a plant here which has a pickup in it. It is a third energy cell. If they do find 4 energy cells and like some form of wall interaction or bash, then they're going to be able to go through Death Gauntlet to be able to get access to the right side of the map. But oh, I take that back because there was one other skill, which was double jump. Why is double jump such a sought after pickup in the randomizer?
Double jump just makes life easier in every possible way. You get additional movement in the air. You can have additional hang time in the air. You can
Right.
also get a little bit of extra height. It's just very, very nice to have all around.
Yeah, it's like it's insane. And it's not something that the logic will ever really gate progression wise. There's like only a few paths in the randomizer itself where it's like very unlikely that it'll be required. So like double jump is one of the easiest to just have be anywhere on the map. So finding it
Mhm.
not only in a seed but this early is just such a relief for our runners.
Absolutely. And double jump can also lead to some really, really fun shenanigans if the players move up the blue tree to get triple jump or find a pickup that's called extra double jump, which does exactly as the name says and gives you an extra double jump.
Yeah, for sure. So meanwhile, ernEst on the left is having a little bit of a head start because Apple ended up taking that death earlier and backtracked for those resources. As ernEst takes a death themselves, no problem. They save the game right at the entrance. And on the right, Appletree is actually checking a pickup that ernEst skipped, and it's the water
Whoa!
vein.
Oh
Oh my
man,
goodness.
the pickup in that spot, the EXP above Sea Flame Tree, is pretty notorious for having interesting pickups there a lot of the
Yep.
time. So
Yep.
it's great
Totally.
to
I
see.
totally have never missed that pickup before in a seed. Not me,
Me
professional
neither.
rando runner, covert muffin. Never. Nope. Not me.
Yeah, we'll have to see when ernEst remembers to go back and grab that pickup because that is one of the pickups that is 100% needed to complete this seed.
Yeah, I think a really tough thing too is that ernEst is going to be able to get access to the right side of the map without having to go through Spider Sack area. So, how long is it going to take for that water vein clue to show up? Meanwhile, Apple on the right, opting to not go into Blackroot Burrows quite yet, and instead is trying to do a frame perfect trick. What you have to do is put an energy in the door and exit the same frame that you put it in. And so this is a lot easier to do with scroll wheel, but on controller, it is literally you have to press a button at the exact time. And this is a way of just getting the energy stuck into the door. Then Apple would go refill that energy somewhere else and then end up opening it. But yep, I like this decision from Apple. Not going to spend too much time trying for that trick for just a single pickup. All right. And then on the left, we're going to see Ernest continuing through, ended up taking a death, so had to backtrack in order to go back through Blackroot Burrows. And sort of was trying to do these really difficult double jump climbs and was having a hard time from it. So instead is just going to use a bind that we have in the randomizer that we just call Alt R, because that's like literally the keyboard input, in order to teleport back to the start. And then it's just going to walk all the way back in to come into Blackroot Burrows in order to be able to lift the darkness and get access to Dash Tree and the first clue that we'll see in the randomizer itself.
And meanwhile, Appietreee is now moving through that spider sack area in Grove, which is a fairly dense area. And it also leads to a couple of teleporters like the Swamp Teleporter and the Grotto Teleporter that will be very useful for her in the future.
Yeah, here we go. This section in particular for Apple is really difficult. Ooh, it doesn't actually have wall jumps, so can't jump off the walls. Instead, shimmying at a really fast rate, left, right, while double jumping will refresh it each time you get distance from a wall and then retouch that wall. So being able to do this is a lot more difficult than it actually looks. There is a really precise timing method. It is a lot easier to do when you have triple jump, because once again, all you have to do is make contact with the wall to be able to get your double jump inputs back. But Apple now coming through, having been able to climb up that section, and is going to get some extra checks. Just experience so far, nothing too important. But oh, what was this? Oh, here we go. And on the right, Apple ends up finding Dash. That is unbelievably massive, isn't it?
Absolutely. That is another one of the what we call the power skills, which are just incredible skills that let you move very quickly and check a lot of different things. And that normally is found where Ernest is on the left at the Dash Tree.
All right, and so there was the Dash Tree, and Ernest is doing these double jump ramps as well. I'm just so impressed to see these coming out of both of our runners. And the first clue popped up. I accidentally missed it because I was checking out Apple. But here Ernest is just going to do some additional checks coming down into Blackroot Burrows. Checks this ability cell, which is 69 experience. Very nice from Ernest. And now Apple is going to be continuing their clears through Hollow Grove. And I really do want to stress that, like, this could be a really big thing for Apple, as Apple finds wall jump in Grove as well. Just all of these really like potent skills that are incredibly useful for clearing not only the end game of the randomizer, but more importantly, the early and mid game. So Ernest just, once again, just might not find these, right, until very late into the seed. Dash, it's one of the few pickups that will just guarantee that you save minutes from like finishing a randomizer. So the longer that Ernest puts off going into those same locations as we saw from Apple, the more of an advantage Apple is going to be able to make with these early skill finds.
Yeah, and that area, that the spider sack area, is generally the logical way to get through. So Ernest might follow that, but there are many ways to get out of logic. So if Ernest does end up taking one of those, he might skip over those really important pickups like the water vein and dash that could save him a ton of time.
All right, and so we're going to see what Ernest decides to do coming over into the boulder escape itself that we lovingly refer to as Raziel No, as Apple takes a little bit of a death on the right, but that is totally fine. I actually like this play from Apple, right? So the goal is to activate every single skill location in a seed, right? And so Apple like does not want to go in against this tree quite yet, because she doesn't know where Sunstone is. So clearing out additional trees across the map that are a little less punishing to teleport back to the start from is a little bit of a better play, because with this skill set, Apple has access to so many trees and finds clean water in Grotto. I would be very surprised if Ernest does not find this, but this just puts another skill location into logic, especially.
Yeah, Apple is just on this loop.
Okay, Ernest on the left is right underneath water vein, decides not to check it quite yet, and instead is going to be making a play for the valley entrance itself. If Ernest finds something here, that could be massive for the state of the race. And I'm going to be honest, like, Apple is just doing a great job coming through Grotto and making these clears, checking high density areas, and really making sure that she is making progress to trees that are not only easy to get to, but also have a lot of pickups that come early in logic.
Yeah, she is just flying through the pickups right now in every dense area in the game. Her pickups per minute count right now has got to be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And so here, just literally placing a save and then resaving after crossing that cutscene trigger just allows us to skip that cutscene altogether. And so with dash, that saves about like a second and a half to 2 seconds overall. So very, very nice little sequence break from Apple. Literally, we have so many different ways of crossing cutscene triggers and saving it. But eyes on the left. ernest is coming over here for the play, has to get up this wall and finds Water Vein for themselves, and is continuing in Spider Sack area. If we see the same level of execution with these double jump resets, I am almost certain that ernest is also going to find dash, which is exactly what they needed to not allow Apple to be able to grab a huge advantage from this early game dash find from Apple.
And that's got to be a huge relief. You can't completely let go of your ref because they still need to find that sunstone, but having just one of those two is already, it feels so much better to just know that you won't have to look as hard come the end game.
Right, exactly. Okay, so ernest is going to be coming through using grenades to be able to check some additional pickups that we've seen. Meanwhile, on the right, Apple is coming down here to check this map zone, just 10 experience, and is not going to opt to do the mini boss. The mini boss does cost a bit of time to be able to check. It's one of the longer pickups in Grotto as a one-off to be able to check. So Apple is just saying, you know what, I'm going to take the risk that nothing important is there in order to be able to get through Grotto a little bit quicker. And now finds that 4 energy pickup, going to allow her a little bit of a quicker backtrack method going through Death Golem in order to be able to get access to the right side of the map.
And once she goes down, I believe this is her third tree. So we'll be able to see what that first hint is that we unfortunately missed while we were watching her earlier.
Well, it was the Water Vein and Grove. I just saw ernest pop it up on stream. So really not useful hint. So hopefully tree 6 for our runners has that sunstone clue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Apple is coming over here to double jump tree, just the keystone right next to the tree, and activating it is going to indeed show her that she indeed found the thing. There it is, Water Vein and Grove is the clue. Probably not too excited to see like a dungeon key she's already gotten, but definitely a bit of a relief as well. ernest, meanwhile, took a little bit of a death getting sent back into the upper portions of Spider Sack area and is maybe looking for some additional energy. Oh, might be going for a timed level up here to get access to this door. No, actually did the energy glitch that we saw Apple going for a little bit earlier. So this was the pickup Apple skipped, and it is a 4th energy cell. And oh no, this is not great for ernest. ernest is not only going to miss out on that dash find, but is also going to miss out on finding wall jump, which just makes interacting with walls so much easier as they progress through. Taking a death as well, has to go all the way back to be able to get that energy back and grab that energy cell. So this is definitely Apple's advantage here.
Yeah, double jump wall interaction is doable, but it is very, very difficult, as we've seen, as these runners have taken quite a few very hard deaths just because of how difficult it is. And Apple doesn't have to do that now that she has wall jump, but we might see ernest only interact with walls through double jump for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing too. Like Apple having come back to Blackroot Burrows later has dash, has wall interaction, and like is going to be able to utilize these to have just a little bit of a faster time getting through Blackroot Burrows, not too much, but also more importantly a much easier time from getting through from just having charge jump and double jump. All right, so ernest still coming through here, made the smart decision to just go back, heal, and save after opening the 4 energy door. And so using grenades to be able to kill the slime before almost killing the slime. And then here comes the Froggy. Oh no, he's got a chair. Oh no. Is going to be slamming that chair down in that wrestler style. And oh yeah, we cannot stress enough, ernest does not have wall interaction. He does not have wall jump. So his only way of traversing this wall right now is to be using this double jump shimmy method to be able to refresh it. Meanwhile, Apple on the right is going to be lifting the darkness momentarily and then checking that dash tree itself. All right, so here we go for a little bit of a state of a race update. We see Dash Tree already having been done from ernest, as well as Wall Jump Tree and Sea Flame Tree. Meanwhile, Apple also has each of those trees, or momentarily will get Dash Tree, but has Double Jump Tree. And this is something that we like to call in the community a tree vantage or a tree advantage. So basically, once again, you must activate every single skill location or each tree on the map before you're allowed to finish the final escape. So if there's something crucial to dig for, like Sunstone, that comes very, very late in the seed, then having done your trees before having to dig that thing means that you only need to find that one important pickup and then finish out a seed. So right now, this is definitely Appletree's advantage, but ernest is not too far behind. The biggest differential of the match itself is that ernest has not found Dash and has not found Wall Jump, which we know to be in Grove proper.
He did make it through Death Gauntlet. Props to him for that. That is a very difficult thing to do with just double jump as wall interaction. And he will now be able to make his way down into Grotto and get that double jump tree while checking still more pickups.
Okay, so here we go. ernest is going to be coming into this area that we like to call Glide Vault. Vaults are just energy doors in the area that we have these silly meme names for often. And the reason why it's called Glide Vault is, like, in a number of tournament seeds in a previous tournament, Glide was actually like the health cell pickup up there. That it was not Glide this time, but that's totally okay. And then here, ernest doing a trick known as a save anywhere to just literally cross a cutscene trigger, save the game, and quit and reload, allowing him to enter this cutscene.
Meanwhile, Apple is going to be coming down here into Lower Blackroot in order to activate this teleporter, which will be very useful for when she decides to go get the grenade tree further down, as this cutscene shows.
It's going to be interesting to see here what Apple actually ends up opting to do. There is a sequence break we can do by luring a Frankie over, even though we don't have Stomp. We can trick that Frankie into stomping the floor itself. That is stopping Apple from being able to get down to that light grenade tree area. And this pickup is actually pretty useful here that Apple is about to check, just simply because it does require Stomp or Climb Charge Jump, so it could give us a little bit of a clue. Accidentally taking a level up, very important to reload there, as that Frankie is one of the few enemies in the game that after it dies, it does not respawn. And oh yeah, here we go. Okay, eyes on the right. Apple is going to have to lure this Frankie through the crushers, going to be dashing into a certain radius between her and the Frankie in order to aggro it, and then dashing out of that max aggro range from the Frankie. This causes the Frankie to do very small hops. If she doesn't do this, then as we'll see there, the Frankie is going to be jumping at higher hops. And so using those lower hops allows us to keep the Frankie alive. Then one more jump, very, very nice, and here is the breakable floor itself. Very nice lure from Apple. Getting that first try is really, really nice for the seed itself.
Ooh, meanwhile, on the left, ernest found Stomp down in the lower parts of Grotto, which is something that Apple missed over when she first came here. So that could turn the tides back, potentially. We'll have to see what they do with the rest of this race.
All right, yeah, that's really nice. It's going to allow ernest to not have to do that same lure that we saw coming out of Apple. Saves a little bit of time as well, because the lure does take time to be able to do effectively. Next, taking a level up from Apple is going to, let's see what sort of method she's going to use. Does a rocket jump, nicely done. That's just simply a charge dash, which is an ability we get from the cyan tree, and then canceling out that charge dash by either pressing jump or glide on the same frame that we press dash, or by simply pressing it before the charge dash actually connects with the enemy. Also, still being thorough, checking these pickups, right? This grenade gated pickup over on the right, that takes a little bit of extra time to check. But now Apple is going to be the first of our pair of runners to make it over to Light Grenade Tree, and we will see what sort of spoils it has for us now.
And ernest, on the other side, did a trick called Rock Slide in order to get down past some lasers that usually require 4 energy to open a door and push a rock. But ernest, with a quick save anywhere, managed to just drop right through them and check those pickups that otherwise might have been stuck down there.
Okay, well, here we go. So Apple is now going to be making their way to their next location, which most likely will either be Ginso Tree or it's going to be Stomp Tree in Thornfelt Swamp. And Apple has everything she needs to be able to do these comfortably, right? Charge jump, grenade, clean water. wall interaction, double jump. Like there's so many resources and tools at Apple's disposal to be able to just get through both of those areas very quickly. It looks like Apple is indeed going to be opting to head over to SpeedRun first and doing some checks in the upper grotto area. Very, very nice play from Apple to be a little bit thorough, because our runners may not have everything that we need. And so, Turtle, a little bit of a theory question for you, right? We see Turtle with dash and charge jump, two of the most powerful skills on the map. And with Sorrow TP, right? Like, we could go left side if we wanted to, but is there maybe another skill or thing that Apple might be looking for that could really help her out?
Ooh, when you mention the Sorrow TP, it's very difficult to tell because the spikes in that cave deal 4 damage, and Apple right now
Right.
only has 4 health. So making it through that cave is going to be incredibly difficult unless she can find something like Bash, perhaps, or just more health to be able to get through that area with a damage boost.
Right, for sure. Yeah, Bash being the most powerful skill in the randomizer itself, especially in the hands of these fine speedrun folk themselves. And it looks like Apple, yeah, is going to continue to the right. So skipping 4 pickups down in that swim section. No, is doing a very nice trick. Using a charge jump and dashing immediately out of it is going to allow us to transfer that damage, because the damage and the radius of charge jump actually retains for a little bit after the charge jump animation ends. And wow, very nice rocket jump, building a lot of height to be able to get easy and quick access over to the stomp tree. In this 4, Apple could actually break using a charge dash redirect on the mortar worm shot, but it's quite precise and quite difficult. And oh, there's the clue. We now know where Sunstone is, which is going to be in Ginso. And sure enough, we can check every Ginso pickup, but what did we just find on Apple's side?
We just found Climb, which Climb is the 3rd skill that Apple needs in order to be able to perform one of the fastest movement types in the game, grenade jumps.
Yeah, so we're going to see if Apple does opt to do these. It is a very difficult trick. Each grenade jump is a 1-frame timing press between 2 buttons. And then the angles, of course, going off the walls can be quite tricky. So we'll see if any of them actually end up deciding to do grenade jumps. I'd be surprised if ernest did miss Climb just simply because of where it was. But also, it actually does really, really help with that Sorrow TP section, right? Climb charge jump is like part of a logic path for getting out of Sorrow TP. So that being said, for the state of the race, Bash could just literally be on the left side of the map, which is not a location that you normally want to have Bash end up being. And man, I love this decisive action from Apple. Says, hey, I know where Sunstone is. I'm pretty sure I can do pretty much everything in Ginso tree, so let's do it. Let's just go for Ginso, maybe hoping to find that Sunstone in the lower portion. But this is certainly a very strong skill set to be able to get access to the final 4 trees in the randomizer seed for Apple and finish out the final escape as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the left, we are seeing ernest follow Apple into the stomp area of Swamp, which it'll be very interesting to see what happens when it comes to that Climb pickup, because ernest missed wall jump earlier, if you remember. So Climb is the other form of easy wall interaction. If he misses both of those, he will only have double jump to interact with walls for the entire rest of the seed.
All right, and Apple just disintegrating that mini boss. Once again, charge jump, you can store that damage for just a teeny tiny bit of time. So using a charge jump and then charge dashing twice immediately just allowed Apple to be able to like 0th cycle that mini boss. So coming up here is going to be the 4 key door, followed by Bash Tree itself. 2 more keystone pickups to try and find that Sunstone pickup, which of course is required to finish out the seed because the final escape is gated in Mount Horu itself. So here, activating Bash Tree gets an ability cell, and then I mean, I can't think of any reason why Apple would just not continue in Ginso at this point.
No. And as for because Apple got her 6th clue from this stomp tree that we're seeing on ernEstO's side of the screen right now, but ernEstO hasn't gone to Light Grenade yet. So this will only be his 5th tree, and he still won't know where Sunstone is. So we'll have to see if that lets him try Ginso now, or if he'll go for Light Grenade as well.
Right. And I really just need to bring the eyes to the left. What Ernest is attempting to do right now without wall jump, without dash, is unbelievably difficult. The only thing that really makes this easier is if you have either glide or triple jump. But yes, gets up there with the double jump and C jump. Taking a damage boost usually knocks you back in this game, but for Ernest, it actually ended up causing them to damage boost forward. So very, very nice. Finding that climb pickup, but wow, on the right, Apple picking up glide in Ginso Tree.
That will make the Sorrow area much, much easier for Apple to be able to complete, which is a huge relief. And there is the Sunstone. That's all Apple needs from Ginso, and Apple is immediately altaring out and just speeding through the rest of the game.
All right, here it is. Apple, 7 health, 6 energy, has every single dungeon key that she needs, has an amazing skill set. How much longer does Apple going to spend for digging before they just go for trees? And it looks like the answer to that question is not very long, Turtle. Meanwhile, Ernest on the left accidentally alt-R'd before checking a pickup, so going to backload back to the tree to be able to just get this one check before heading out. It is just experience. That is not what Ernest probably was hoping to find there. And Apple is going to be making quick works, using climbs to be able to get on these walls and then charge jumping downwards. This is normally like the section you're supposed to do to get out of charge jump tree, but Apple is just making it look very, very easy. As setting up on the wall, is Apple going to go for a grenade jump here? It is one of a few different setups to be able to get through this section. So here it is, Apple lining up, going to be throwing grenade and then trying to jump one frame later, accidentally press the buttons at the same time. This is literally a 1/60th of a second timing press. Oh, does the same accidental timing press again. It's just very, very difficult, but I love Apple's dedication to be able to try and continue on with this.
And you can see every time that one of these slight misses happens, these spikes do so much damage. It is very, very difficult to get through here, even with the 7 health that Apple has right now.
Yep. Beautiful change of strategy from Apple is going to use a charge jump followed by an air dash double jump and then using a rocket jump to gain height. Nice. Charge jumping off the wall and charge dashing immediately. Like it has to be on point, a fraction of a second, no longer. And just being able to get through that section so well after struggling a little bit is just very impressive to see. Meanwhile, on the left, Ernest coming back to Light Grenade Tree, which is a tree that Apple has already gotten. But Ernest has grenade jumps, but no dash. So Ernest setting up high on the pillars, going to be aiming down, waiting for the laser cycle, and then, oh, just barely misses the inputs. That was only 1 frame off. But yeah, instead is going to say, hey, I'm not feeling too comfortable with the grenade jump setup. So instead, I'm going to set up a zombie Ori. Taking a death, saving the game is actually going to cause Ernest to respawn, but respawn with 0 health, because 0 health in this game doesn't actually kill Ori. What does kill Ori is having 0 health and taking damage to set that value to 0. So respawning with 0 health is not enough for us to actually take a death. Meanwhile, Apple heading to the left side.
Yeah, using that Sorrow teleporter to get to the left side is a very heads up play. That means Apple doesn't need Bash to get through the normal valley entrance, and also doesn't need to come all the way up from Forlorn. Instead, she can just come down from Sorrow and immediately be right on top of this rock. That once broken will spawn the Feather, which is another tree that we need to complete the game.
All right, and there it is. Going to be grabbing this feather, which I know does not look like an oak tree or like a willow tree, whatever trees look like the trees in Ori, but it is considered one of them. And so here, Apple is going to collect this, and then all Apple has to do now is go through Misty Woods, having such a strong skill set with a ton of energy and health, grabbing Valley Teleporter for a little bit of safety. I like this decisive action from Apple. And then after Apple collects this last skill location, the question is she going to dig for something else to help with the final escape, or is she just going to head straight to Mount Horu? And the way Apple's playing, I would not be surprised if she just made the call to go straight to the escape.
And on the other side, on the left side of the screen, Ernest has gotten Grenade Tree, and that will additionally give him his Sunstone clue. So he now knows that it is in Ginso, and we'll see if that's where he goes right now.
All right, and so ernest is going to now be teleporting out Apple with a little bit of death, no problem. Nice safety save location because there's actually very few checkpoints in Ori, which is different than most other like Metroidvanias in general. And so having the ability to place a save down in locations is really, really nice, but it's also really easy to just forget that that is a tool in your arsenal. But Apple is a seasoned runner and is going to be very comfortable, especially for a tournament sort of a moment, with knowing to just place down some extra saves as she progresses through. Okay, ernest on the left is going to be heading into Grove proper. We're actually going to see if ernest tracks down that wall jump pickup that we saw Apple find very, very early into the seed. Finds an ability cell for their trouble, and then is going to wave hello to Kuro in this 18-second cutscene. But the question is, does ernest just go immediately over for that Ginso tree and that swamp teleport activation, or does ernest check like 3 to 4 pickups that are really quick to do in Hollow Grove? And so here's a charge jump, and Indeed is going to check these two. I can't remember if wall jump was the map stone or not. Nope, there it is. Okay, so ernest is going to be finding wall jump now. That is going to be nice. Of course, does have climb, so can interact with the walls themselves, but wall jump allows you to jump off of the walls, which is actually very, very useful with double jump. Meanwhile, Apple, 10 out of 10 skill locations activated, and now all that's left between Apple and victory is that final escape sequence itself.
Yeah, in the final escape, even with all the incredible dash and charge jump and grenade jumps that Apple has at Arsenal, the final escape can definitely still be very, very deadly. And if she's not careful, it can take up quite a bit of time. So I believe in her. She's a very experienced, very skilled runner, and we're about to see something great.
Yeah, I just once again want to really commend Apple on their routing the seed, right? Like being up this many trees, right? Like dash definitely helped, but she was very, very decisive with going to the skill locations and constantly trying to make progress to those while staying close to the confines of logic. And so, yeah, just skipping that health cell down there that is easy to get through with that breakable floor. Over here is going to have to do a little bit of a trick. This trick was found by a runner whose screen name is Snowy, who I actually know from a different speedrunning community, who just came in. And what you do is actually just attacking this baneling on the right-hand side multiple times, slowly adds in all of these acceleration values from the shots, then aggroing the baneling, as we're going to see, shoots it over to the left because it applies all of those accelerations at the same time. So that's a really heads-up play from Apple to just know that is a way. Yep, and the instant replay in the right to see this. I absolutely love this trick. It's so silly to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, meanwhile, ernest in the Ginso tree is going to be making steady progress to the Bash tree, and then I'm sure is going to be progressing all the way up to the top of the tree where we know that Sunstone is located right before that second 4 keystone door, as well as finding that glide pickup to help them with the left side trees. On the right, though, Apple going for door warp. And gets it first try.
Ooh,
My goodness,
wow.
Apple. Apple is just absolutely playing out of her mind. I'm so impressed by the level of play we're seeing from her.
And no kidding, that trick is within 1/60th of a second or so. You have to hit a button, and if you don't, you just have to try again and again. And when your nerves are this tight in a race, it can be very hard once you mess up to get back on track with that trick. But Apple just nails it like it's nothing. Incredible to see.
Something else to mention that we didn't do in the moment, but Apple was actually skipping a lot of pickups in the late game, and she was abundantly aware that she needed one more ability cell to be able to get that ultra defense, which is going to help out massively in this final escape. But here we go. Apple going through the first section on the right, dashing over, not getting hit by those rocks itself, using climb charge jump to be able to break that floor, is going to have to do something a little bit difficult here. Yeah, I actually like this decision from Apple. So there was actually three different ways, from getting out of the room with the skill set that Apple has. But if what Apple does here is break this floor, going far enough over to the left, that is going to stop the rock from falling down. Then coming over here, she can stand on a really high point on the rocks, timing it perfectly to be able to skip that instant death lava plume. I mean, I know that hot things are hot, especially the fire in Mount Horu, but Apple is just absolutely on fire with this final escape.
And as we watch her, as she just seamlessly, oh my god, as she flies through this entire game, we are seeing Ernesto catching up or at least finishing with Ginso, where he'll find Glide in the Sunstone, and then all he has left to do is left side. But on Appletree's screen, we are one screen away from the end of this seed and the winner of this head-on-head.
Oh no, Apple forgetting that she has climb. Oh, but gets up there. Okay. As ernest finds Ascenso, but on the right, Apple setting up for the final grenade jump. If she gets this saves over half a minute. Oh, just barely missing the timing press. I cannot stress enough. You have to throw grenade, press the jump button 1/60th of a second afterwards. It is an unbelievably precise trick, especially when you're running on controller where these button presses might be a little bit awkward for the hands. But yeah, just not quite taking it. Will be interesting to see how many more attempts, because if Apple just decides to cross over the finish line, even though she doesn't get that cutscene skip time save, she will take a win here. Meanwhile, on the left, ernest is going through Sorrow Trees, going to be grabbing that tree. Very, very nice, using charge jump to great effect to be able to get over. Having Stomp here, which we know Apple, and oh, very nice save there from ernest, activating that glide in order to stop themselves from stomping into those spikes. And sure enough, Apple, not quite feeling the grenade jump here, is going to go over. But eyes on the left, this is a scary part. Oh no, yeah. So if ernest does a rocket jump, as we saw Apple do a little bit earlier, that allows them to be able to get over there a little bit easier. But instead, going to be leveling up Ultra Defense and heading over in the similar fashion as we saw from Apple. But that being said, all Apple has to do to finish out on the right is to hold that right direction down on that analog stick in order to cross the finish line. So time is going to be coming up in a bit on Apple's side.
Yeah, it's this ending sequence is just a nice, relaxing break. Even if you do, Naru hops to optimize your run, it is just calm, easy, and relaxing after just an incredible run from Appletree that we saw. Just wow.
Yeah, very, very nice execution, especially in the late game. And just as a little bit of a lore from the speedrun community. So here we get control of Naru for like 10 seconds, and it's fastest to just literally hold to the right and walk. Because every single time you jump with Naru, it actually loses you a little bit of time because you lose a little bit of speed. But sure enough, Apple is going to be taking time with an overall time of 41.07, clinching out a win here for this matchup. And of course, this was a preliminary race, so we had multiple other runners. We'll be getting some stats as we finish out the seed for ernest. But Apple is going to be taking the victory in the matchup versus ernest themselves. GG to Apple.
Yeah, GG for sure. That was phenomenal to watch and phenomenal to commentate.
Okay, yeah, and so Apple, now having finished, we're going to see if she would like to come in for an interview, as ernest is going to be closing out the final two trees and then heading to the final escape himself. But yeah, over here is going to be Glide as a skill location, and then heading to the left, Misty Woods is the final location for ernest before going back to Swamp in order to progress to Mount Horu and to do the final escape.
And does have to take these areas a little bit slower than we saw Apple do them because he still has not found Dash. He does have Stomp though, so that's a couple of other things that he can do in different areas to save some time, like the final escape.
Yeah, for sure. So now coming through Misty, ernest is going to opt to find a few more pickups, only finds 3 experience. The experience is actually randomized as well between a number of values. And the range of the values that it can be is dependent on how early in logic those EXP pickups find, right? That one was 227, which is a very, very high number for experience. So definitely cool to see how that is important for the randomizer itself. Nicely done, kills that Frankie, almost taking a death, and setting up for this grenade jump. Just barely misses the timing input. This was one found by a runner whose screen name is Tritonite, which is a really nice setup because the one before it was actually a lot more difficult and a lot harder to do very, very quickly. But yep, setting up, not quite hitting the input.
Once he gets this, it looks incredibly smooth. Just fly, there it is, all the way over these spikes. Super fast, just completely ignoring everything below.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love to see it. And that being said, we actually do have our winner here who we are going to ask some questions about that seed. Apple, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Woo! All right, so that seed was wild. All right, I want to start with the early game. I know it can be difficult to think about the early game, but you made some really interesting routing decisions, right? And initially, right, we had like that early charge jump, sort of a start without wall interaction. Was this sort of a factor in your decision to decide to go through Spider Sack area before heading to Blackroot Burrows?
Um, no, not really. It was kind of a
Okay.
toss-up. I was doing Sea Flame Tree, and I was thinking I'm never gonna come back here if I do go to Blackroot next. So I might as well just get a few checks out of the way, which happened to be
Right.
really, really good. And then I just
Yeah.
wanted to make it all the way to ATP anywhere so that I could get back to that point. And then I just continued for a bit and left Blackroot for later.
Right. Yeah, and that's really smart because it's like it's never guaranteed that you will find the swamp teleporter as a pickup, right?
Mhm.
So like may as well just go over and grab that. Very, very, very nice play. So at what point in the seed were you comfortable using Sorrow TP in order to go like full on lumberjack mode to clear out the rest of the trees on the left side?
The second I found Climb, that was next to the Stomp Tree, I think?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so as soon as I had that, I was like, okay, get Ginso out of the way, and then let's go.
So another question about that, like speaking of Ginso tree, right? Like, I mean, when you initially got to Swamp TP, right? You said that you just wanted to activate the teleporter before doing some other stuff.
Mhm.
Did you consider actually going up to Ginso immediately with like your keystone count, or were you looking for maybe some other skills or trying to get that sunstone clue potentially before heading into Ginso?
I had actually forgotten about the Sunstone clue. It was
Oh, nice,
a
yeah.
bit lucky that I went to Stomp Tree first and then just got that because it was lucky that Sunstone was at the top of Ginso where it was because going
Yeah.
further would not have been fun. But no, that was more like a happy accident.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so over on the left, taking a little bit more attention to our runner, got past the instant kill death lava field that is Horu Fields, and is now going to be heading over. Nice use of triple jump there with a charge jump to be able to get over to the door, and we are going to see how ernest does on this door warp and the final escape. But Turtle, do you have any questions for our runner here?
So Muffin, you did a great job covering it all.
Great. Yeah, no, of course. So in that case, Turtle, I guess one more question for you is there's one more day of prelims, right? And so we have 3 more seeds before bracket stage. How are you feeling about the prelims overall? And do you have any things you're considering as we head into brackets or any hopes for bracket stage?
These prelims were great. I think one of my favorite things was just seeing everyone race. Going into the bracket stage, we are going to start losing people, which is going to, feel a little sad. It'll be great to see just how well our top tier runners do when they're going head to head against each other all the time.
Yeah, okay, so here we go. ernest is going to be starting the final escape. But over to you, Apple. Like, how are you feeling about coming into bracket stage in general?
I'm feeling pretty good. I would have
Nice.
liked to be seated a little bit higher than I am. I think
Sure.
I'm 25th right now.
Right.
So like 2 or 3 places above that would have been nice, but I guess I can work on that tomorrow.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the nice thing too about these weekend matches, folks, is that we actually have 3 seeds tomorrow. So for most of the prelims, we were only doing like one seed a day, but tomorrow, yep, gonna be jam-packed with more Ori action. Meanwhile, on the left, ernest busting out some really insane strats. Very nice save using that double jump tech to be able to get up. Then coming through the elemental room, is now going to be heading down to the swim. But the swim, no problem when we have that clean water pickup. So the water is not poisonous. So indeed, we can indeed drink it if we desire. Although it is in a mountain that is on fire. So maybe it's like boiling hot and that might be a bad idea. But here, ernest going to come up. No bash. So has to get past these Sigma rocks. Going to be trying to get up this wall. Maybe forgetting they have climb. Nope, remembering they do have climb, and is now going to be attempting this final grenade jump. Sets up in a pretty nice spot, but just barely missing that timing press. This is once again a 1/60th of a second press. and gets its second try. ernest is going to be skipping over 30 seconds in this cutscene and is going to be coming up on time momentarily. But that being said, Apple, thank you so much for joining us with this interview. Good luck tomorrow. I have full confidence, especially if you played as well as you did with this matchup today. You're going to do great tomorrow. So good luck with that, and I'm looking forward to your matches in bracket.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
GG, Apple.
Okay, so here we go. ernest now in control of Naru. We're going to see if ends up opting to do these optimizations. No, just going to do a nice, slow, very fast jaunter over and taking time with a time of 49:10. GG. Very impressive to see a sub 50 on a seed like this, especially having missed that dash pickup. But we are going to go ahead as we see ernest is going to be here on deck, and we are going to go ahead and ask them some questions. ernest, GG, absolutely great play. How are you feeling, my friend?
Well, I saw some people finishing very fast, and I definitely felt like I missed something, but I was pretty happy about how I played it.
Sure. Do you want me to spoil what Appietreee ended up doing?
Yeah, sure.
So Appietreee, before she went Blackroot Burrows, ended up going up through Spider Sack area, and at that like spider pillar area, when you do the like charge jump and double jump up that wall, dash was right over there. It was actually the health cell to the right underneath that like grenade locked pickup. And then she found wall jump. So Apple had wall jump and dash for the grand majority of the seed.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I missed dash somewhere.
Yeah. So talking a little bit about that, I actually really liked your early game routing a lot. What sort of is like a deciding factor for when you do maybe like Blackroot Burrows or decide to go over to the right side of the map?
Well, mostly I try to do Blackroot Burrows lately as I can, so I have more skills and can do it faster.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got a 4 energy in Spider Sack and decided to go to that gauntlet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's mostly when I skip growth when I have 4 energy.
Right. Yeah, because it's like you're making direct progress to like double jump tree and like stomp tree potentially and stuff like that. I once again really like that play you made. I thought it was a very smart one. So going into late game, was there sort of a turning point for you when Saro TP came into logic for you to be able to continue on with the seed and do the left side trees?
I think I mostly thought I was in go mode when I found climb, because then I could get to charge jump tree easily.
Right. Yeah. That was very nice. So Turtle, do you have any questions for our runner here?
Yeah, sure. So, Ernest, going back to the mid game, what was your routing for the trees in that time? Like going to light grenade tree before even entering Ginso, for example.
Well, I was thinking I have everything to get to light grenade and a lot of ability cells, so I was like, I'm gonna get that out of the way first. And then I was thinking, well, I got the Sunstone clue and found out that it was in Ginzo, so I checked that first and then went to left side.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, ernest, we are now 1 day away from entering the bracket stage, my friend. So through the prelims, are you going to do some more seeds tomorrow, or are you pretty well satisfied in focusing on getting ready for brackets?
Well, I'm gonna try to do some more seeds tomorrow, at least 1, maybe 2, but
Great.
We'll see.
Awesome. Well, very nice play today. I was very impressed with a lot of the stuff you busted out, especially getting to that stomp tree. That C jump into the double jump to get over those damage spikes is really tight. So well played. I'm looking forward to the rest of your runs, especially coming up in bracket stage, and best of luck to you, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Okay,
GG,
with that being said, folks, this is the final run we have for you today here at the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. Tomorrow, we have 3 matches, one at 11 a.m., and then another couple going into the afternoon and evening if you are in various time zones. Yeah, time zones. That being said, the first match tomorrow is going to be starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, which will be on one of the SpeedGaming channels, and that is going to be featuring Liftoff versus Grem, and that is going to be commentated by Aiko and Zem. So stay tuned for that, as well as 3 races tomorrow, which will be closing out prelims. They are sure to be action-packed and exciting. That being said, I am Covert Muffin, and joined with me was Turtle Guy. Thank you, Turtle, for joining me.
Thank you too, Muffin.
And then we also had additional people helping out with this restream. We couldn't have done it ourselves. On restreaming itself was Fox Diamond, and then helping us with some stats were Guard and Kyrfel. Thank you, everybody who helped out and has been volunteering through the tournament so far. From all of us here with the Ori and the Blind Forest randomizer community, thank you so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.